having me, gentlemen.
How?
Yeah, it's so good to be back. I've been so looking forward to it.
And we've been looking forward to you coming back, man. Like ever since last time we were recording and, you know, for whatever reason you couldn't come, but you gave us Connor, who was an absolute mind blower and a godsend for coming on the on the pod, and his podcast was awesome. I hope you've listened to it.
I absolutely have. Thank you so much for having him on.
Yeah. No, he was
totally
fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a great time. The question that we asked beforehand, how did you start at the radio?
Very interesting story. It's my lifetime passions combined and the right place at the right time. My passions, I suppose, being music, definitely. I've always been somewhat inspired by music even before I became a musician. And then I became a musician, and that's kind of what my life's identity has been about to a degree since. That's still very much what I think I'm supposed to be doing. If I'm doing that, I'm happy. If I'm not doing that, I'm not happy. It's kind of as simple as that to a degree. And I also, so it's a combination of music and technology and people, and they've all drawn me towards that. So in school, I just started at a call center while I was in college as my first job. Apparently it seems now I've got the voice for it, but I love talking to people. And so that was pretty straightforward. And one of the call center jobs that I had, a friend in a band worked in a different call center who asked me along, and that was working for Apple. So I worked for 6 years as a hello and welcome to Apple Care Technical Support. My name is Nathan. And then it was hello and welcome to Apple.
It's been a decade since you've done that and you're still straight off.
Yeah. We lived it and breathed it. It was sweaty, stressful, but incredible times.
Do you do that from an office? Because I swear sometimes when you call those people on the phone now, they're like, it's like they're on the treadmill or something, or they're out walking.
And they probably actually are. And you can tell with the phone connection, whether they're on VoIP or not. I got to start in a call center, which was awesome. And I absolutely adored it. My friends that I made there, the teamwork that we had, it felt like rocking up and working for Apple every day. We were there when the iPhone 4 came out. We were there when Steve Jobs died. We were there when everyone got the U2 album on their phones. Yeah. We were there for all of those moments, which were incredible. And then pretty much ahead of our time, we worked from home. So in 2015, we were doing Teams meetings and stuff like that, right? 5 years before everybody else did it.
They didn't exist before COVID. Teams wasn't a thing.
Garrett, what was it? Zoom?
Yeah.
Whatever. Skype. Skype was big. Skype doesn't exist anymore. What the fuck happened to Skype?
I know, it's
Teams.
weird.
Teams.
What's that?
It's Teams now.
It is Teams
is it?
now. Yeah, that's all Microsoft, and I wouldn't. Apple wouldn't catch Apple using Teams, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we were doing that and ended up getting very stressful because you're just at home with your caseload and knocking off at midnight, just stressed. Because we want to help everybody, but I love Apple's products and I love a bunch of its mission, but it is a huge dystopian mega corporation. And I figured out after about 6 years that just like, we're not actually here to help everyone. We're here to help everyone as long as it profits the bottom line of the business. And that just broke my worldview in half, essentially. But what that did do is qualify me when the radio station needed someone who could use music recording software on an Apple computer. Mm. And someone that I knew from bands, my absolute dear friend Henry from back in the day, who was the announcer at the time, went, I know someone who works for Apple and uses music recording software, and they gave me a call, and it's been 10 years now.
There you go.
That's mad.
Yeah. So combination of music, technology, and people has kind of got me most places that I've ever been, and I'm super grateful for those things, absolutely.
And you started there in the studio doing the tech stuff. And
absolutely, yeah. I started making radio ads. So for 8 years, I'd been making the radio ads, which is just like making little 30-second songs, which was really cool. I got to operate Pro Tools, and so I'm a much better music producer than I am now. I'm a much better music producer now than I was then because I got to sit in front of Pro Tools for 8 years. Even if it was making radio ads, not songs, my muscle memory got really, really good. And that's what I wanted to do. I kind of just assumed like, hey, I mean, I listened to death metal and stuff. I wasn't really listening to the radio stack. I totally did as a young kid. I got a bunch of my music taste from SeaFM. But then my music tastes broadened outside of the top 40, and I found myself following into lots of little micro niche extreme music scenes, and that became about my personality. So when it was like, hey, do you want to come work at the radio? I was like, yeah, I'd love to come work at the radio. I don't really listen to music, but I love the opportunity to do something that's part of the community. I love to do something that feels really special, and I love to do something that involves making music. Too bad radio is going to be dead in a year. That was what I thought about in 2016. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Now
right.
it's been 10 years and we're going so strong.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's funny, like it sort of went through that era, and it was probably honestly around the same time that I was working in print marketing. And look, I was in print marketing not because I necessarily wanted to be. I was there because it was a change of real estate bullshittery, and anyway, it was the job that I had at the time.
Totally.
And it was doing a lot of stuff with at the time Fairfax also owned, or they had the rights or whatever it was to distribute like Google sort of products and website development and doing all that kind of stuff around like marketing and et cetera. But it was during that time, probably was around that era that we all thought, fuck, print's dying. And admittedly, I think it is still dying.
Sadly.
Like it's just this really slow inevitability that it's going to die. But at the same time, we also thought that radio was dying, and same with traditional TV.
Yeah.
I think out of the three, what you would call traditional forms of media, I think the one that is going to last will be radio.
That's kind of, you wouldn't have picked it from outside, but I think it's the case, and I wonder why each day, because I'm now a radio announcer, and so after 8 years I found myself in a position to choose whether I continued doing production, and they'd changed my Mac out to a Windows computer, the big wigs on the mainland, so I was not happy. Yeah, exactly. Everyone can use what they want. I no longer really mind, but that was what I'm good at using. So I'm like, oh man. And then and I was doing a little bit of announcing at the time, but they were like, look, the network who bought us, they didn't want little small town announcers doing a bit of production at the end of the day because they thought it sounded bad. I won awards for my production, just saying, and I got invited to join the production team, but I went, well, no, that means I would no longer be able to talk on the radio. So thus, despite my intentions, I became a full-time radio announcer 2 years ago, and now I'm on The Breakfast Show, which was, again, something I almost resisted for a time because I know the sheer amount of community responsibility that it is, because the radio is for everybody. It's as opposed to every product, every company that you work for where you're essentially selling a product to somebody. In the radio, we give away our product, which is music and entertainment, for free to anybody who wants to listen, and we sell the privilege of advertising to those people, to local businesses. And over those 8 years making radio ads for our clients who would come in, I realised just what a vital lifeline and an insanely important and privileged part of the community it was to be helping with people's businesses. Like those are the businesses that the people in our town shop at, and it helped them. And so after seeing those businesses come back year after year after year because the advertising went to the people who went into their store, I realised it was such an insane, incredible privilege to be part of that. And somehow the fact that you can still walk into a radio station or call up and talk on it in the morning, I think that's why we are the strongest out of those traditional forms of media, because television always seemed massively exclusive. You can never be on TV.
It's one way too.
Totally, right? But you can be on the radio.
Quick side note, who's the alpha? Is it the morning guys or the afternoon guys?
Oh, it's absolutely the morning guys, which is
I don't know.
Well, our afternoon guys are on the mainland somewhere, like the proper big dog drive show guys in the afternoon, like 5 p onwards. They're like the big dogs in the industry.
So they're the alphas.
Yeah, but they haven't dared show their faces down here. And well, I'll just say, so my co-host and I, Ben, have been on air for since January, and I think we made it about a month in before Kyle and Jacko spontaneously combusted because they saw us coming.
Yeah, so
We're the alphas, but we're not being too big about it. Yeah.
Let's go to the progress side of it. So
Cool.
you've started there as doing the production stuff, and now you're here
Yes.
doing that. How was that change?
It was a massive life change to step into, because it was like, hey, do you want to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go live with someone you haven't met before for 4 hours every day for your job? And to me, the role models that I had set were people like Lee and Jess, who are our local radio heroes, and they're running the place now. And so I'm like, good, that's how it should be. Excellent. I didn't really want to get up in the morning, but I knew that I'd got to know some of our clients and they love listening to me on the radio, and it just felt like the right thing to do for the business. It's like, be the change you want to see in the world. And I went, well, I'd love to work for a business that has these qualities and does this and has this product that I believe in. And I went, oh, well, I'm actually going to have to dip my oar in, I suppose. and do a bit of that myself. So I did, and I love it. I still don't really understand quite how massive it is in a way, because at the same time, it's kind of like nothing. You listen to the radio, turn it off. It doesn't matter, but to a lot of people, it really does.
How are you coping being like a B-list celebrity now?
Oh, that's kind of what I'm like. I don't know where I stand with all of this. That's what I mean. It's hard. Technically, I would be a B-list celebrity. The weird thing is, it was not for what I ever expected it. Again, like, I consider myself a musician, and so I'm definitely not that. As a musician, I'm like down to like, you know, T or U or V-list celebrity.
Dude, I mean, your bands are like doing some pretty good numbers at the moment, aren't you? Like, you're still playing with, obviously you play with Danny, like that's part of what
which
you
is
do,
really,
which
really
we can
cool.
talk about that. But who was the heavy metal band that you were?
Tranquility Unknown, that I'm very proud of. They, right now, at the time of filming, they've just played their first shows on the mainland on a tour, Melbourne the night before and Bendigo last night. I decided to step away from playing with them about 6 months ago, I suppose, only because I thought it was about time they did it for themselves. The signs were all there. Like, I picked them up when they were 16 years old. They're 23 now. They're the best young metal band that I've ever seen in my life. And as of this moment, like I said, they've just played their first tour on the mainland, which is further than I ever got. So they've actually just done this to me. And I just went, look, I'm kind of still a bit, not burned out, but wearied and recoiling from a lifetime of preparing to do all of those things. And so we produced the album. Luckily, they asked me to manage them and do an album for them as a producer. And then their bass player went to join the Navy, which is awesome. And so we're in the middle of recording an album. So I went, it makes sense to me if we don't bring someone in to replace them in the middle of an album recording cycle. And they asked me to play bass. So I actually got to join. So my first show with them was on my 33rd birthday, and it was just awesome. So we played for 2 years, and we ended up, my last show was supporting the best band in Tasmania and Australia, which is a band from Hobart called Psychedelics, who are world-class technical death metal and have been so for about 20 years. And it was a magic show. Everything was fantastic. But by the end, I was starting to get imposter syndrome. Like, I was on stage, and the kids love it now. It's crazy. Like, huge, massive walls of death. Like, 50 people here, 50 people here running into each other. Just absolute devastating mosh pits.
Carnage.
It's absolutely insanity. Yeah.
Have you not heard of this stuff?
Oh, we got to look up a wall of death.
No,
it's absolutely insane.
Man,
You'll
some of
build
the fucked up shit that I hear from Pete Halbach up at the Burnie Community House, like he talks about like death metal shit, and he talked. I remember he told me about this. Now, it's way, way off topic, but I can't remember what kind of like festival or some fucking weird shit where they like put hooks or something through their backs and
obscene extreme.
I do not want to see your YouTube like search history.
Not mine, fucking man. No. These are like
Bust
other
out the
people.
algorithm. Let's go.
This is like death metal, like hardcore death metal, like sort of shit.
Kind of just like all just violence.
I'm not looking at your Instagram feed ever.
Maybe Nathan.
Totally. That's what I like. But you can be adjacent to it. And extreme sounds. People like extreme forms of dancing, I suppose. Like the screaming thing is just singing with distortion added, which is the same as just the Beatles, but with a distortion pedal added. Then you get Nirvana, basically. So if you consider a guitar, an acoustic guitar, then put distortion on it, you get rock. And so if you take a clean singing voice and put distortion on it, you get the screaming. And then if you turn all that up a whole bunch more, if you do it to dancing, you turn that up and you get moshing. And there's various forms of that. You can jump around. No one's actively like swinging at each other, but you're going to survive a mosh pit is part of the adrenaline. No one's out there trying to punch you specifically in the head, but there are going to be fists flying around, and your goal is to come out of it feeling alive. And part of that is the coolest thing I think of all time you can do is called the wall of death. So you're in a band on stage, and I always wanted this to happen as I was a young lad coming up, and hence the imposter syndrome. Because now I'm 35, I'm playing with some dudes who are 22, and they're the fans now who are just turned 18 and young enough and old enough to come to shows. They're not too cool standing at the back of the room like this. They're not cool to mosh. They're there to have a great time. And so after all these years of trying to build up a band to do something amazing, I found myself in one. And the singer, it's like Moses and the Red Sea, they'll reach a part of the set where there's about to be something really heavy happen. And so he'll then just do this with his hands. And the crowd then parts like the Red Sea. So it's just like bare concrete, beer cans and stuff with 50 people either side. And then the singer's going to count 1, 2, 3, go. And then everyone's just going to run at each other and collide. If someone falls over, they get picked up. It's the most adrenaline-fueled form of dancing you can imagine. And so, yeah, these kids are going off for this band. This band is really, really amazing. And I just went, it was never my plan to be a bass player in someone else's band. And I could have been, but I know what it's like to go from that stage of a Tassie band to a touring band. And I kind of felt that it was probably about time that I left them to do their thing, as in like they're 23 and they're the most talented set of musicians that I've ever met in that bracket. Like they don't need the old dude hanging around anymore, especially since they're always the young guys at the gigs. I'm like, I feel like they deserve to have their own identity a little bit. So I'm still part of the team. I'm still technically their manager, but they do most of the managing more than I can be. So basically I just get a free side stage pass to whatever show we want. They went and played Party at the Paddock and disrupted everyone's lunchtime. Yeah, imagine Party in the Paddock and it's just death metal for 40 minutes. And boy, did they drag some people in and it was moshing. It was crazy. So I just got to stand on the stage with the laptop and run around filming everything. It was awesome.
That is super rad. And yeah, that's like, fuck, if you want to ruin your YouTube algorithm or just change it, check out some death metal mosh.
Yeah, walk up Wall of Death. It's so much fun. Yeah. It's great. Surviving it is brilliant. You don't take your glasses in. You don't take your hat in. Like you're going to lose all that stuff.
Don't take absolutely. Your phone in. Like that's half the vibe, isn't it? Like how many times do we go to a show now and, like people are still on their phones? And I remember the last concert that I sort of went to.
Did we talk about that last time where people Snapchat their whole fucking
no, we didn't, but we should.
That's so annoying.
But it's just like I went to
sorry, I distracted you.
No, you're right. I've just completely brain farted on Luca Brasi. Is what I was trying to get into.
Yeah.
So I went and seen Luca Brasi at Fourth, and the amount of people that were there that were sitting at the back of the room, they were on their phone or whatever, and you're like, dude, you're literally here with a group of people. Why the fuck are you on your phone? I don't know.
Or filming it.
But or filming it.
When are you going to look at that ever again?
Are you ever going to watch that?
Don't say that. Don't save it.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you ever going to watch it? I don't know.
Does that annoy you when you're on stage?
I've not often done it.
Can you see it?
Yes, absolutely.
Is it bright lights so that they piss you off?
And sometimes it's really cool because we'll tell people to get their phones out and do this. So you get this wicked footage of 100 people with their phones out doing this. It's brilliant. It is interesting though. A lot of metal bands, singers take issue with it, and some of the famous ones will have pinched people's phone off and threw it on the ground or say you're not allowed to bring your phone in here and swear at them and stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is. If it was me, I wouldn't be ungrateful that people wanted to record my music like some of these wankers are. But look, if you've sold 30 million records, I mean, how are you going to tell that person that their reality isn't right? How are you ever going to be able to tell that person anything at all? And if they think you shouldn't bring a phone to a show and record it, you should be there in the moment. It's like, well, you can think what you like about it, but how else are you going to tell them? In a way, the people have spoken by buying their records and putting them in that situation. It is democracy, I suppose. It is interesting, though. There's a lot of interesting things going around in the world, and the older I get, the more opinionated I get. Is that something that comes with being older? I'm less worried about what people think and getting a bit more concrete on what I think, or is that just part of my journey? Because
I think that's just I don't give many fucks at all anymore about what people think about me.
I'm excited for that to grow into that. Yeah, I think I do now, but I just don't.
You don't walk around with a Terry Towel hat
Yeah, that doesn't matter. That's not showing I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm after is one day a month on social media. You've just got a free pass. You can just say whatever the fuck you want.
Oh, it's like the Purge.
And do you know what would happen? yeah. Or maybe it needs to be a lottery or something so one person gets it, and for that 24 hours they can just fucking go for it and just fucking go. And then no consequences, no nothing, and you watch it fucking clean up real quick. There will be no shit on there.
Yeah.
Intriguing. Very intriguing.
I'm down for that.
The Purge, but for social media and once a month. That's not bad. It'll work. It is interesting because you've got this. One of the things kicking around in the world at the moment is, of course, getting cancelled for stuff. And I've been both sides of it sometimes. And at the end of the day, it comes down to if you like someone, you don't really want them to get cancelled. But if you don't, you kind of maybe do.
I wouldn't mind Donald Trump getting cancelled.
Yeah, absolutely. There's people that you can actually just like straight up want to get cancelled. But this is the thing. He's interesting. I mean, he's said enough stuff that he could have been cancelled so many times over if it was anybody else. And being cancelled is like, hey, we don't want that in our world. You know, if you said some of your stuff that he said as a business owner, people would be like posting in their community groups going, hey, this person said this, and democracy in that case would happen. Same as the singers of metal bands being like, I can afford to smash this person's phone because of I don't want to see it in my face, that rock star stuff. And you could get somebody taken down for how they believe. It was a big old thing. And it's kind of fair that, you know, if you're paying people lots of money to be in the highlight of society, like artists and actors and political activists and stuff, we don't want to support a world where people who are doing really fucked up things get a pass, can just do whatever they want and keep doing it.
Yeah. We won't bring up the Epstein list in this video, but
doesn't need to. I was about to say Andrew Tate's a perfect example. But basically everyone's got their own heroes and villains in this world. And Eminem's a perfect example. Like, he's uncancelable technically because if someone was to be like, hey, you can't do that, he would just be like, that's his whole persona is like, nah. Do you remember? Oh, that's a bit topical. I don't really want to get into it. But the mayor of Launceston kind of got in trouble a little while ago for posing with Ronnie Radke, who's an artist that is
controversial.
very, and loves it. And like Eminem used to be, like in his younger days, very controversial and argue with people on Twitter and say a whole bunch of stuff that would get you cancelled, basically just to prove that he is uncancelable. Is hanging out with someone like that as an artist wrong? Well, I mean, clearly not, because you're allowed to buy tickets and go to the show. But everyone's allowed to choose who their heroes and villains are. And I think that's good in a way. It all becomes democracy in the end. I keep saying democracy. What I mean is evolution.
Yeah.
Because evolution as a process doesn't go, this is right, I'm going to do this. Evolution throws everything in the wall and sees what sticks. And what sticks is what works, basically. So we do all have a choice. But yeah, it is odd. The older I get, the more confident I'm getting in the things that I believe in. And that's probably been what my life's journey has been about, is finding what I feel okay about believing in.
Let's go with this life journey. You just said, I think that's the last few words I heard.
Yeah, my life journey is about kind of finding what's okay to believe in. But before we do that, though, can I just say, love what you've done with the place. Love what you've done with the podcast.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've turned it
this
around.
is spectacular. It's
turned
wicked.
it around heaps. So, yeah, well, you'd appreciate the Mighty Car
all the
Mods
signs,
posters,
Mighty Car Mod stuff, which is very cool.
Which is pretty cool. And we've spun it around. Like, I spun it around, to be fair, so that we moved half the shit down the other end of the studio. So it wasn't like right in the middle of the room. It actually made a lot of logistical sense.
Gives you your room back.
Yeah, it gives you the room back. And honestly, like, it's actually worked out really well for my study as well. Like, it's a nice sized table, whereas the little table that I had before was way too fucking small. So thanks, man. But it's worked out on many different fronts.
It looks really nice. I've enjoyed watching it on the other podcast. I was checking out Connor's the other day, which is magic. You guys did a fantastic job with all of that. And I'm so grateful because I love that guy. And I really wanted him to be able to have this experience, because I can go back on the podcast we've got. It's like reading a chapter of your life. It really is. And in watching that, I was just like, cool. I didn't realize that things had been turned around. The continuity didn't break. It just it looked like everything had been redecorated, which is fantastic.
It's like we're in progress.
So, definitely. It is. We're in progress.
But let's go with last time you were here. You listened to your other episodes.
Absolutely. And it's
last time was maybe a little bit, Nathan was.
Yeah, it's been interesting. The first time I came in.
Is he straighter, or we just have a straighter conversation?
I don't know.
We haven't got to the wild stuff yet. Which is
You feel now more.
Yes, it's super interesting. Like, I could tell that things were doing this last time I was here, and it's probably been 18 months or 2 years maybe. Since,
probably. I think Danny's new since this too.
No, that was just starting to happen. The last one. That's what I mean. Everything was starting to
starting
like
to converge.
that.
Couldn't you remember he was coming? He's like just glowing.
That's it. Yes.
Something's going
He was
on with
very
you. What's
happy
going on?
because he's been on twice.
The
The first time Danny wasn't in the scene. The second time she was.
Yes.
And we're like, what's going on, mate?
The first time it was like cars and rally and just fucking wild. And then the second one was like this
same again, but still a little bit more centered. And now he sounded much more like a 35-year-old man.
Yeah.
I never thought, I have no idea what it was going to be like to be a 35-year-old man. I assumed by now I was going to have to have grown up to be something other than what I was. And that was a big component of growing up. I just always assumed one day I'd become an adult who hated fun and didn't do anything interesting anymore, and I'd stop liking. I'd stop liking the things that I like. But that doesn't actually happen. You keep liking the things that you like. I'm just older.
Yeah.
And I was like, when that penny dropped, it was amazing. So I've tried to think about how my life worked a little bit before in doing a little bit of prep for this podcast. But I think about that a little bit all the time anyway, because I'm still super messed up. I'm super messed up all the time. And so I'm still trying to make sense of it. It's just the situations that I'm in are a lot more manageable and more conducive to who I am as a person. And if I was in a situation, life, work, relationship, the rest of it, that was a mess, I mean, I'd be no less of a mess than I ever was. I don't know if I've really fixed that much or if I've just fixed the situation that allows myself to be at my best, but that's definitely what's been occurring, and this is kind of what it looks like.
I think one thing that,
I feel like I'm at the same stage as you.
Yep.
I feel like now at 35, we've now got enough tools in the toolkit that you can manage what's going on. Like, it doesn't matter what jumps out in front of you. You're like, nah, I've seen this before. I've got this. This is what I did last time. This is what I'm going to do now.
And that's what you don't have. That's literally what you don't have when you're younger. It's just experience. It's just hours. It's just hours spent figuring and things you've survived that didn't kill you, and go, oh, okay, well, I guess if that didn't kill me, then I guess this other thing that's much smaller probably doesn't matter as much as I think it is too.
100%.
Truly it is.
It's all perspective. It's funny, like doing this podcast, being in the space that I'm in and working in, you realise that outwardly, I probably always had this perception that people had their shit together, because outwardly a lot of people have their shit together.
That's a defense
mechanism.
mechanism.
But then you talk to them, or you have them on the show, or you see them sort of somewhere else where they're a little less, you know, like those walls are down a little bit, or maybe they've got a few little cracks in those walls, and then you eventually have a chat and you're just like, nah, dude, you're as fucked up as like everyone else.
Literally.
And then it actually, for me, it's probably re-normalized myself a lot as well, like, you know, knowing that, you know, and like logically, I think a lot of people know and understand what social media is and how it works and all that other kind of shit. But I think until you really like sort of think about it in this kind of sense, and I think that's one of the powers of this podcast and podcasts like it, is you start to see people for what they actually are, not the facade of like.
Truly.
How good is finding someone else that's got the same problem as you.
Truly.
He's fucking grouse.
It's just
like, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And that's been such an amazing experience for me coming on this podcast over the years as I've done, because it's been such an insane checkpoint for me to be able to hear what I said and then watch it back and go, wow, is that really how I feel inside? Because I still struggle to communicate with myself and think about, you know, what I say and what I actually am. Who we are and what we perceive we are totally and utterly different things, the constructs of ourselves and people that we hold in our mind. But that's why another reason I'm really grateful that you had Connor on, because I wanted him to be able to have that experience of sitting down with you guys and going, that's who I am in this context. Wow, that's incredible. And I'm like really excited for this kind of like chapter to look back on now. So I have thought a little bit about my life story, and I have thought a little bit about and how I view it, which is like a character in a book, which I'll come to. And the other one is choosing what to believe. Those are probably the two big components that I've got with me today. And there was a time in my life that I realized you could choose what you believe, and it was kind of, my life's in two parts. The part before you realise you can choose what you believe, and the part after you realise you can choose what you believe. That's basically it. So I was a kid, very normal kind of lifestyle, which is interesting because I was born in 1990. We didn't get the internet until I was like 11, maybe, something like that, 11 or 12. So I consider that I had the same normal childhood as kind of technically anyone in the last 30 or 40 years, I suppose. Obviously, it was a bit different in the 50s than it was in the 90s, but you got up, you had Wheat Bix, you had Vegemite on toast, you rode your bike, you went to school, like you watched a bit of TV in the evenings, you read a book, you played with your mates. Like anyone who's born now with an iPad in their hand, the world is so unutterably, incomprehensibly different. So I still feel like I got to have 1 foot in a normal growing up, at least until I was about 10 or 11-ish. And then I got to be like an early adopter of the internet, which is incredible. So anyone older than me isn't quite as comfortable with the tech as a generalization. And anyone younger than me is probably a little bit better, but it's probably never going to be as grounded as going through those early years without having that kind of thing, getting kicked outside to go get off your Nintendo 64. Because
come back inside when the lights go on.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah, totally. So I read books. Apparently I never shut up. As soon as I could talk, as you can imagine. And it was always, Mum, can you read me this book? Mum, can you read me this book? Mum, can you read me this book? Until I learned to read books, and then it was just silence. Well, comparatively silence. I liked other stuff too.
Yeah.
But books, I would say books were this is probably not, it's a bit of an oversimplification. Books were drugs, I guess, or pick a distraction. Maybe it's an addiction, whatever. But that's a place as a kid where I could just vanish to somewhere else. And I read not just fiction books, but non-fiction books, everything I could get my hands on. I loved war and I loved thrillers and I loved adult concepts way that I shouldn't have been reading, way beyond. And I would thrash the library, whatever I could get away with. And I think because of that, I've structured my own life and how I perceive it as a character in a book. So I kind of just want my story to be interesting. And so whether I think I'm doing well or not in life is whether I think this particular page that I'm on is worth reading or not, I suppose.
So your perception of, I want to say wellness, like a good life is how others would actually perceive your life outwardly looking at you.
Yeah. I don't know how healthy that is either, because I feel like I'm supposed to be the hero all the time in that case. But you don't have to be the hero of anything other than your own story. It's just you want to be a character that's worth reading about. You don't have to be a space marine, or you don't have to be like a rock star or whatever in your story, as long as it's like readable and as long as the character's likable to the people around them and the story's cool. And so that's kind of what I've been trying to achieve. And for a lot of my 20s, it wasn't the case.
Why do you feel that?
I had those life experiences. Like I got really lucky. I got bullied in school. A lot of people did, but I suppose some people take it on a bit more than others. I was always a fairly sensitive kind of dude and still am a very sensitive kind of dude. And I just wanted to like get along. And I never really saw the value in taking something from someone just to have it, just because I wanted that thing. And I've never seen the point of fixing an argument with a punch. And so that's just options that have never been available to me, which means the only way to win successfully is if everyone's kind of happy and getting along, which means that if it wasn't, I was kind of upset. And so that became very easy to be a target, to be entertainment for someone else, because all I had to do was not include me, and then I would become entertainment in itself, which was painful and hurtful. But for whatever reason, I was born this way where I don't really... Like, some people will be like, hey, if I could steal $1 million, then I'll have $1 million. That's mine. Then I'll have $1 million. Why would I care? I'm like, I don't want that $1 million if it's someone else's. I've got a guitar, a really, really good guitar that I got very young, and I got it for very cheap. And I inquired about where that guitar came from, and someone said basically, well, it's stolen. And I went,
I don't want it anymore.
Well, I went, actually, where was it stolen from? I'm like, has it been stolen from someone who purchased it, or has it been stolen from like a shop or whatever? And at this person, and the person's like, oh no, it had been stolen from like a shop. And I'm like, at this point in my life, I'm like, well, the shop's insurance will cover that. I'm never going to be able to get anything like this. But if that had been come from someone who just spent their money on it themselves, I'm like, I would not have had it. It's as simple as that. So that was probably not a cool thing, but I've used that guitar for 20 years and I used it yesterday and I'm still continue to do my best work on it. So I think karmically that one was allowed to me that I would not have taken if someone else had already put themselves down for it. So like, I don't want to steal anything from anyone. I don't see the value in it. If I manipulate someone to get a win, I'm like, well, that doesn't count because I want people to like me. I want to be the good guy. And you can't be the good guy if you're tricking people to like you and stuff. So to me, all of those manipulative kind of stuff and lying and cheating and anger and violence, I'm like, I just feel disappointed if that comes to a result because to me, everyone being on the same page is a win. And so that's kind of how I've conducted my life. So not because I want to, not because I particularly chose to be a good person. That's what makes me either feel happy or sad. And I don't get any control over that whatsoever. So I just am so grateful that for whatever reason I came out this way. Because if I valued having stuff instead of not having stuff, I'm like, well, I'd just be an asshole like everybody else who is. So I don't know what's wrong with me and I didn't choose to be like this. It's just that is what makes me happy and it seems that's how I was long before I could talk or think. I've just come out this way. So I always definitely want to win and I'm ambitious and competitive in its way. But if it's actually tearing someone else down, I'm like, psh.
I think it sounds like good morals to me.
Yeah, and I didn't choose them. This is just how it's been.
If you find $50 in the street, you find it where it come from.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, finders keepers.
I mean, within reason.
I mean, it depends. Like, if it's $50 and it's just laying in the gutter and there's no, like, perceivable reason why, like, or, you know, if there's an old lady and you could see that she's clearly putting $50 in a purse and then you just see, like, one blow down the street, you don't just be like, finders keepers, you give it back. But if you just find $50, like, in the street, you just don't just look around and just say, I wonder there's 1,000 people that are here. Like, I'm going to walk up to every person and say, hey, did you lose $50? Because someone's going to just be like, yep.
Yeah, and 3 people are like, yeah, that's mine. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What colour was it?
It looks like the $50 I lost earlier today.
Yeah. And look, sometimes life gives you those little wings. Like I said, like the guitar, and that's not something I mean, it's not something you really say out loud. I hope I'm not going to get arrested or anything. But for what it's worth, like I've done...
I think you've paid back.
I hope so. I absolutely hope so. But yeah, I think sometimes life gives you the $50. Sometimes it is yours. Sometimes there is a little old lady who it belongs to. But sometimes there's no one around and it's just yours. And so it works in mysterious ways.
So on reflection, like thinking about your book analogy, if you could look back at some of the pages in your book, I'm sure there would be some moments that as you were, you know, writing those pages or living that life, you didn't think that a particular page was necessarily beneficial or it was going to actually be a pivotal moment in your life. Upon reflection, what are some of those points in your life where you've now sort of looked at those things and thought, fuck, that was actually way more meaningful than what I gave it credit for at the time?
It's interesting because I believe meaning is super important. Belief and meaning and the interplay between the two of those things are kind of arguably the most important things in life. Well, they definitely were in my search for understanding of what life was about. Because I got all kinds of fucked up when I was younger and I've just been trying to figure out how to make it make sense, and coming on this podcast being a bunch of them. So the meaning that we apply to things is perhaps the most important thing, because otherwise, you know, you see a cat, that's just a cat, that's a fact. But if, you know, you've got the meaning of that's my cat or that's that person's cat, a whole different things cross your mind if something were to happen to that cat, for example. So I've kind of been hyper aware of a bunch of things like that. So moments that were more pivotal than I thought that they were at the time.
An example, like me looking at your life from the outside. You taking that opportunity to go work at Sitel at the time, or fucking call center, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was Sitel.
To work at Apple. At the time, probably didn't think that was a really important chapter of your book. But now, in retrospect, looking at where you are today as a breakfast host, that whole thing,
it's the foundation.
So after 8 years of producing, right, it's then like, cool, I got a chance to go and do a bit of talking on air. And so I rock up, I turn on the microphone, and I say the stuff. I nearly said the stuff, but it's not a work day. I only go to say the stuff.
Say the stuff. Go on.
It's the Northwest Coast's favourite hits at SeaFM. It's Nathan with you. And we'll be hanging out for the rest of the afternoon playing all of the good stuff that you can possibly imagine. So I go to say something like that, and I'm like, why is this so easy? I'm like, oh, because in a call centre for 10 years, I've been going click, and as you pick up the phone matter comes on. You can't say fuck anymore. And you're there to represent a certain portion of the community. In one case, it was a dystopian organisation, but Apple was very big in its tech support for being very caring at the time. For 11 years in a row, they'd won the best tech support in the world. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The golden years of that time was up until about when I left in 2016 and joined the radio. But, so it turns out I'd already had 10 years experience at pushing the button and
saying the thing.
Putting radio voice on.
Exactly. And so radio is just like a call center conversation where the other person doesn't talk back. So yeah, insanely pivotal. And I just didn't really expect it. It was like, oh, I wanted to play music. I went to another call center because my friends were working there and their family run it. And I met some beautiful people. Beautiful people, two of whom have died of cancer now in that family. One was my boss, Colin Rowlands, and one was his sister, Susanna, who was the HR manager and hired me. And it was their brother, Matt, who's at Shadforth now, who I'd met playing bands, one of my best friends. And all of those people become incredibly, insanely valuable to me. When their dad died of cancer, like Matt asked me to say something for him before we played a song at a show a little bit later on. Like, these people became huge components of my life. There are bands out there now who are putting on shows and tours just because, and it works every time, because they learnt it from me, because I learnt it from Matt. Like, these are people that are massive influences in my life. And that was a life enough in itself. But no, it turns out that was just building me up to be ready for this radio thing. The muscle memory of being able to turn the switch and being able to be the appropriate person.
Where do you feel like you're heading now?
I'm at the place in my life now where everything I've got going on, I just want it to be more of that and that be the future. I'm not looking for any massive drastic changes. I've got my Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like my pyramid of everything basically taken care of. I'm happy as hell. I'm happy to wait. I wouldn't mind having a more faster race car, but I don't know if I could... So
you've upgraded from Lancer to E36?
Yes, I have actually. I'm the second owner of it.
Ooh.
In factory manual, of course, in black.
Second owner of an E36?
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy hell.
It only had less than 200,000 Ks on it when I got it. I took out a Nils loan to get it.
Yeah, right.
Which is something I'd highly recommend anyone that do. I was under
Explain
the threshold.
a Nils loan?
Yeah, no interest loan scheme. And so I've found the dream car, because to me it would have been a BMW, but I would never buy an old one that had been thrashed, because it's not like I'm rich enough to fix it if it breaks. It needs to be good quality, and anything newer than 2000s, as my dad always told me, it's like early first gen electronics. You're going to get windows that stop working, covered in dents. They're all automatic anyway, so I wouldn't drive one. And so it would need to be a perfectly maintained, low kilometre, but still within my price bracket, 90s style E36 BMW in manual. And then one of them popped up on Marketplace, and I just couldn't leave it alone. And Danny was like, maybe you should call them. I'm like, I don't want to call them unless and we're just setting up a new life and our savings and all the rest of it. And I was like, I knew I wasn't going to dip into my savings. I wanted to do the right thing and all the rest of it. But you realize if the future is going to go the way it's going to go, you don't need to shore up the next 2 or 3 months when you're aware of the way that the next 40 years of your life are probably going to look. And that's, you find someone and then you figure it out with them. And so I'm like, with full support. So I then called my dad and went, I want to do the thing that you told me not to do. And the fact remains is it's got windy windows, it's got central locking, but it's so manual that even the clock ticks. There's nothing electronic in it. It only beeps when you leave your lights on. It's the perfect kind of thing for me. And these people had taken care of it their entire lives. and it was a present for when they had their first child. And so it was looked after by a motorsport mechanic for 9 years, like absolute genius. So this is the car, and I just went, okay, well, I don't really have that money. I was about to start saving for it, and I was hoping that thing didn't show up before I was ready, but now it's time. Wow, okay. So I had to look and see if I could get a nils loan, and I could. So I didn't make quite enough. I was just on the threshold of making enough money, because radio's rad. I'm just not really great with money, but it's not like a super high paying job or anything. I'm like nice. I'm comfortable, which is an insane thing to have. I can go to the grocery shop and not really have to check my bank account unless it's the last week of the pay month kind of thing, because I'm still terrible at savings. but I've taken care of the rest of it. She's all good. I've invested so much money in my physical health over the last couple of years, which is something I like to talk about as well. The journey of my physical body, and therefore how my emotions have come along with it, which is insane. But
next time.
Pretty much. A nils loan.
Oh, maybe this time. We've got enough time.
That's really cool. Yeah. A nils loan is something that a lot of people listening to this would be eligible for, and they might not know it exists, because I was very broke for a very long time in a very difficult situation. So I learned to pinch my pennies and figure out how I could defer all payments as best I can. And anything that doesn't charge you interest is the real winner. So nils will give you up to $5,000 to purchase a car.
Yeah, right.
No interest. You don't touch the money. The money goes directly to the buyer. It takes 3 to 4 weeks to go through. And you just need to be underneath a pay threshold. So if you're on Centrelink, studying, anything like that, I said 98% of the people who access the nils service, it's through a company called Good Shepherd. We have nils Tasmania, but they'll offer you up to $2,000 of interest loans for like a fridge or something like that. So it's trying to keep people in difficult situations out of predatory high interest stuff, which I absolutely got into in the past trying to survive. And so I'm still kind of recovering from that. Thanks, Mum. But I was lucky enough to have some people save my ass and realise that no interest is the trick. So the only way I could get this car is if I could get a no interest loan. Turns out I absolutely was eligible. I'm like, I asked them, am I screwing the system here? He said, no, this is not just for people who are on Centrelink. But people don't. It's like, you're a success story on your way out of the problem that you're in. Absolutely. So basically, I think you need to make less than $80,000 a year, and that's about it. And so I make less than $80,000 a year. So I found this thing, and the people were prepared to wait for me for a couple of weeks, because they wanted their car to go to an enthusiast. It was a present for when their baby was born. They didn't really want to let it go, and they wanted to go to someone who was going to love it. And will
this be a daily for you, or is it going to be a part of the motorsport sort of?
No, it's my daily. It's my daily, absolutely.
Yeah,
everyone would scream at me if ever did anything motorsport related in it. Yeah, no.
Let's talk about the motorsport stuff.
So motorsport was something I got into via video games. I don't know anything about cars. I know how to drive them now. I come from my great-grandfather was steam engines, and my grandfather was trucks, and my dad was trucks, and Dad said, no more truck drivers. You can't do that anymore. You need to do something else. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was drive trucks. But somewhere along the line, I got into video games, and my friend Ethan, who's an absolute god-tier legend, we've been through a whole bunch, he showed me how to just drift playing on Forza. And I'd always kind of wanted to, but never really got into it, and thought since I played music, I couldn't do it. So 6-7 years later, I realised I had like a racing simulator that I'd cobbled together. Friends had helped me buy bits to computers and different brands and plugged it all together. And so I'm just like drifting cars on the simulator. And then someone pointed out that there was a local club, the Northwest Car Club, that actually ran events that you could take your daily in, and you could do hill climbs and stuff. And that was what I was into, rallies, hill climbs, like Initial D kind of stuff. And so I just want to drive twisty roads. I don't really want to go around on a racetrack. I've done it a couple of times. It's fun, but it's scary. There's loads of other cars on the track. I'm like, I don't know. No, man, I'm way happier when it's just me. So hill climbs and rallies, thank you very much. And my friend was about to die, and of cancer. My friend had died of suicide when I was 20, and because of what I was going through then, that really fucked me up good and proper, and that added to my utter, because he messaged me. He said, hey man, can I come around and talk? And I had some friends there watching a movie, my band, and I went, okay, well, that's odd that Jono's asked me of that. I just said, hey man, I'm just finishing up watching a movie with these guys, I'll get rid of them. And so I thought how weird it would be to rock into a movie when you've got something sensitive on your mind for the first time and have to watch half a movie with some people you don't know, the rest of it. So I got rid of them. long story short, by the time I'd got outside and got rid of them and messaged Jono, he's like, oh, it's cool. I'm at another party in Ulverston now. I'll see you when I get back to work. And then, of course, he left that party and never came home. And so it's never been fine for me to consider that there may be just that one extra thing that you can do that can save a life. Because that was my reality. So I was waiting to get absolutely shattered. That was when I was like 21, and so Marshall was dying when I was like 31, and I was waiting for my life that was just starting to come together to utterly be destroyed. And when I don't know what I'm going to do with myself, and the most crazy, ridiculous, superfluous thing I could possibly imagine would be investing money I didn't have in racing a car, which is just like the most, like, how rich and silly can you possibly be? But I decided that that's what I was going to do. So I took all my Christmas bonus and I bought a little Mitsubishi Mirage, and I went out and did a hill climb, and then Marshall died. And having that thing that was so impossible to justify for yourself, just for your own enjoyment, has been so incredibly empowering to me. You should do that thing that seems ridiculous and expensive and pointless and hard to justify, because if it's so hard to justify something to enjoy for yourself like that, you need it even more than you think. And so I started doing a couple of events, and my dad said, all right, you're going to break your car. I was racing my daily, of course. Absolutely.
Wise.
Yeah.
I've done that. That's fine.
Didn't you have a Subaru with like a engine made of glass?
Yeah.
Yep.
Doesn't fucked it.
Yeah. At a hill climb?
No, at Baskerville.
Oh, good. Excellent. I haven't made it down to a real racing track like Baskerville yet.
It's sensational.
I keep hearing it's a lot more corners than Simmons. I'm really excited to get down there, as a matter of fact. And it just made me really happy in a way that I couldn't quite fathom. And so my dad said, you're going to break your daily car, because he saw me racing. And look, apparently I'm not hard on the tools. I haven't broken anything. Like, I've been racing for a couple of years. I haven't done anything silly. The only thing I've broken is my left wing mirror from getting too close to the inside corners. Yeah, so that's flapping in the breeze, which is exactly the kind of stuff that I like. It's come back from each run full of trees and fronds and ferns and killing bollards with my mirrors because I'm getting this close to them. Yeah, and Dad said, look, I'd rather see you spend a bit of inheritance. I'd rather watch you enjoy a bit of your inheritance than have to wait for me to nod around. You've got it. So thanks, Dad. So I got another little Lancer, got some coilovers in it and a limited slip diff, and now it's the most gangster car on the rally course. It's right at the very end of the seating, but it punches above its weight in the hill climbs. I kept a Porsche with a roll cage behind me for a couple of Barrington events, which is excellent, until obviously had a lot more car to risk worrying about in terms of investment wise. But I just want to be entertaining. I don't want to win. I want to be the kind of guy that people hang out to the end of the rally to make sure no one misses, because they're going to come screaming through, missing a door, like flat sideways through the spectator area at the tail end. Yeah, those are the kind of characters I've heard about, and that's what I'd like to be. So yeah, I got heavily involved with the club. The club's coming up. It's just been 70 years old. We own our own block. If you're 12 years old and above, you can use a club car on our block to do motor carners and things like that. It's going to be a driver training institute. And I'm really excited. A lot of the club's built of life members, people who have been in the club for 40 or so years. And that's what I'd like to be doing when in 40 or so years' time. And so given the scheme of who's actually fast and who's not, unless I win the lottery, which none of the rest of these people did, they've all worked for it. I don't mind being 45 before I get something fast. That's fine. I just want to be in that position. I want to do my time, and so I do as much volunteering as I can. I'm the secretary of the club now, and they made room for me and my friends on the committee, so we can help out as what we can, because they want to bring in the future of the club. And so I'm so passionate about this local event motorsport thing, because it's so good for your soul. It's like the only time when my brain shuts up is when I'm sliding sideways on gravel.
It's cathartic, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no other feeling like it. It's just absolutely exceptional. And again, I was playing with a metal band, Wall of Death, brilliant, but there was something about it that was just going, you don't deserve this. This isn't for you. And it wasn't actually hard enough. So I went and learned to do the one thing that I'd never done, which is also my absolute dream in the scheme of things, is with my incredible partner, Danny, who's the most amazing performer and singer and writer who I've blessedly all this time I get to hang out with, which is amazing. I picked up the acoustic guitar and learned, instead of playing half an hour of like real fast blast beats and stuff, 2.5 hours of popular songs that people recognize, that they'll recognize if you play wrong. Because when you're playing like some fast punk stuff, no one's going to tell if you're playing it good or bad or not if they don't know. But if you like butcher House of the Rising Sun, everyone's going to know because everyone knows that. You're playing it bright lights. We're playing at weddings and funeral wakes and like community events, and actually being able to get part of people's lives and playing songs, trying to make people happy with music, which is really, really special. And obviously we're writing some music of our own, and that's what all that production and working at the radio in production has enabled me to do, is to get really good at producing. Not really good, but good enough that I can have a bit of a crack and we'll be able to put some stuff out for ourselves. I just want to sort of play music and get out the stuff that's in our heart, I suppose. And that came around about the belief thing. Because I didn't realize you can choose what you believe, but you can. The goal is to believe what makes you happy, I suppose. But you don't want to just believe what will make you happy if it's wrong, because then you can get proved wrong. And disappointment's surely about everyone's least favourite thing. I hate disappointment. So choosing what you believe is this careful game of hedging your bets to see if you're okay. Because what really happens is, if something happens contrary to belief, you get a strong physical feeling, have a gut feeling. And I'm not really good at regulating those feelings. I don't know if my feelings are loud or what, but if something happens wrong, I am shook to my core. I had a very traumatic, toxic, Stockholm syndrome-y kind of relationship when I was young, and I can still feel the physical pain of it burning in my solar plexus right now, every second of the day, constantly. Even though it doesn't fit the situation anymore, I'm still that afraid all the time. It's complex PTSD, I suppose. There was no war zone involved, but once your emotions get involved, it's very tricky to get out of. And there's so many people walking around now who are probably not even aware that that's what they're going through. And so I was very depressed about it all until I encountered psychedelic drugs. And that was what enabled me to wake up and change that perspective on myself. It started by making me extremely anxious, because anxiety is possibility and possibility is a choice. And when you realize you've got to make the right choice in the right moment, that's incredibly anxiety inducing. So I think I've spent 10 years or so making what I hope's the right choices to find myself in the right situations where it works the best for my strengths and weaknesses and people that I can trust. I'm still screwing it up. I've screwed it up today already. I'll screw it up probably again before the end of the day. But I think I'm okay with it. I think I'm okay to understand that you can make mistakes even if they feel like the end of the world for you. And it is okay if other people can forgive you. You don't have to push their forgiveness away and go, no, I don't deserve it. You can actually take it, even if you don't feel like you've deserved it or not. So I think everyone who's been traumatized or had something that's messed them up, which is everybody, and they're still trying to get over it, I think you're either working on that or you're not. You're either aware of that or you're not. And that's really all that covers everyone on this planet, whether they're aware of what their trauma is and whether they're working on it or they're not. And I think that's the only power that there is to recognize the pain that you're in and try and unpack it for yourself, however it is. So for me, it was podcasts. It was people talking about mental health. It was getting high on the couch and watching stuff about the human brain to understand what the fuck was happening to me. And coming up on 36, I have the dream girl. I have my definition of dream car. It was a black BMW. You guys remember watching those old like street drifting videos of that incredible dude called it was in Georgia. It was just like a black M5. This dude just like street drifting through Russia back in the day. It was amazing. I always wanted one. So now I've got one that I obviously don't street drift, but I'm just as crazy as anyone else. The instinct's there at every second of the day. I've got this beautiful life with all this incredible stuff in it, but I'm just like Connor was saying, and like my instinct, this raging instinct thing inside of me is like, risk it all, roll the dice, go for a skid. It's raining. Like, just do like, I live sweating and adrenaline fueled. I feel like I'm always chasing comfort, but I'm actually always chasing a place where I feel comfortable. One of the final things I've learned that we have an internal reality and an external reality. There's what you feel and what you think you feel and what's going on around you on the outside. And if you've had some hurt happen to you, it affects your internal reality and you're still hurting today, whether you're conscious or not conscious of it. What you're going to want to do is, if you've got a nice, happy life, but a physical memory of a horrible situation, your internal reality doesn't match your external reality. And we would rather seek the familiarity of our external reality matching what's inside us than actually being happy. So we will fuck up that situation. Because if we're used to chaos and there's chaos on here, we will ruin a good situation, because that familiar chaos is more preferable to us and our nervous systems than actually trying to be fine. And I'm trying to change that however I can.
Mate, you have killed your book so far, and you're doing an excellent job on every page, and I can't wait to be a part of future pages going forward. Cool, so we're definitely going to have you come on. We've probably gone for more time than I would have thought, but it's not unexpected. Mate, you're a fucking gem in this world, and we're so glad to have you as a part of our little family of the podcast, and thanks so much for being on.
The pages that I get to read are the pages that of my life that I actually get to review are basically the ones that we do here. This is where I come and check in with myself and see who I was, and I can't wait to be like 70 and watch this and go, man, that was the day before he did that. That was all of those things to come. So yeah, watch this space, because this is a massive part of my life, and thank you for having me so much and doing what you do.
Thanks, legend.
Thanks. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Thanks.